and welcome or welcome back. I am so excited that we are finally in the month of February. For me, the month of January just feels like it takes way too long to get through. By this point, we are out of the holiday season and all of the fun things that come with that, and then we are just left with a very long and very cold and gray month, and I just don't like it. I would prefer to skip over January entirely. So now we have finally made it to February. When I think of the month of February, I instantly think of Valentine's Day, and of course, all things romance. I want rom-coms, I want books that dive into this. So that is exactly what I am going to be reading this month, and figured that you may be looking for some romance book suggestions, so I hope you're ready. I have a range of romance books that I am going to suggest to you for the month of February. This is going to include Forced Proximity, Friends to Lovers, Enemies to Lovers, Grumpy Sunshine. We've got a whole lot going on. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was reading books over a wide variety of genres. I really wasn't sure which one fit me the best. I definitely did not think that I was a romance book person when I first started my reading journey, but I was very, very wrong. So as time has gone on, and as I've continued to read more books and buy more books, I have realized that I actually am a sucker for romance books, especially if they are funny. The books that I'm going to recommend to you are just a few of the books that I have really enjoyed and think that you should give a try at any point, but especially in the month of February if you are looking for some good romance books. The first book that I am going to recommend to you for this month and for a romance book recommendation is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This was one of my favorite reads from last year, and if you're not familiar with Ali Hazelwood, she is referred to as the STEMinist queen on Book Talk. So that's referring to STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and generally is a very male-dominated field. So Ali Hazelwood writes about women in this field and some of the experiences that they face and some of the struggles that they deal with, while also giving her characters a romance-seeking and funny plot. The Love Hypothesis follows Olive Smith, who doesn't really believe in long-lasting relationships, and she has a best friend who wants her to find a good person to be with, or at least wants her to be open to dating and to finding someone. So Olive just really doesn't feel like she's at that point in her life, but really wants to get her best friend off of her case about this. So she's been pretending to match with people on dating apps and pretending to go on dates. And all of that is going extremely well until it's not. And Olive's friend realizes that she's been lying and starts to kind of unravel all of the lies that Olive has been telling her about these fake relationships and fake dates. Olive absolutely panics now that her best friend is questioning all of the fake scenarios she's given her. So Olive does what any normal and reasonable person would do, and she kisses the first person that she sees in the hallway to convince her best friend of her openness to dating. Now, of course, this plan should just be fine. Well, I guess not really. Maybe don't do that. But she just happens to plant a kiss on the known grumpy and hard to deal with professor, Dr. Adam Carlson. Olive somehow convinces Adam to fake date her to keep her best friend off of her back while she's trying to finish a major project as part of her doctorate, I want to say. Whatever it was some major project that she needs to put all of her focus on, and she doesn't have time or interest in dating people. So her grand plan is to fake date him to keep her best friend happy. I don't want to share any more about the plot with you because I don't want to spoil it, but I really enjoyed this book. This book was funny, had great characters, and I loved the plot. The next book that I'm going to recommend is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Now, I would imagine you have seen this one. If you are looking for book recommendations, this one has probably come up for you. And this is actually a very recent read for me, so recent that I don't even have a review out for you. So, here are some of my thoughts on this book. Actually, it was my first Lucy Score book. I know that she has a couple others that are really popular. This is the first one that I've read by her, and it is a small town grumpy sunshine romance. This book follows runaway bride Naomi, and she is running away from a marriage that she doesn't want, and also is running towards her sister, who has called her for help and always seems to find herself in trouble. So Naomi is fleeing her current situation and ends up in this tiny small town called Knockamount, Virginia, and comes to realize that her sister isn't there like she said that she would be, but she has left her a surprise. And that surprise is to raise her niece, who she never even knew existed. So Naomi decides to stay in this tiny small town. And the first interaction that she has is with the grumpy, impersonable, and hard to deal with Knox Morgan, who is known in the town for not taking anyone's crap, especially not from a runaway bride. Until Naomi's life implodes right in front of him, and he feels obligated to help her. So Knox decides that he is going to help Naomi, and he kind of has this inner battle and decides that he is only going to help her long enough to help her get back on her feet. But we all know that that's not how these books go. I literally could not put this book down. I read it in one weekend. Honestly, I think it was 24 hours. I read it for an entire Saturday and late into the night, and then finished it on Sunday because it was just cute and funny and very entertaining. I would highly recommend that you give this one a try if you are looking for a good, easy to get through romance. And also, something to note about this book is that the sequel comes out this month. So if you have been wanting to read this, read it now, because the sequel is going to be out in just a few weeks. My third book recommendation is actually going to be another from Ali Hazelwood. So if you can't already tell, I really enjoy her books. And I think that that's because she has an incredible balance of character development and connection, romance, and humor. So the third book is Love on the Brain, which is actually a newer release. This one came out later in 2022, so it's still fairly new, and is also in another STEM setting, which we all know she's known for. This book follows our main character, Bee, and she was just offered a dream job working as a co-lead on a new NASA project. So she is just absolutely thrilled for this job opportunity because she's been extremely unhappy in her job, and she has a misogynistic boss, and she's just not thriving at the moment. So she thinks this is her chance to move to a new city, start a new project at a dream company, and kind of change some things that she's not super happy with. That excitement is soon lost when Bee realizes that her co-lead on this project is none other than her college rival, Levi. And Bee really doesn't even want to do this project anymore. Levi was such a jerk to her all through college. He made it very clear to everyone else that he couldn't stand her and didn't think she deserved to be in their program. And he made it very clear to her as well. Or at least that's how she thought it went. Bee decides that she is not going to let this ruin her opportunity, and she is going to work on this project anyway and just try to avoid Levi at all costs and only work with him when it is related to the project. So that seems maybe feasible, except this is his lab and she's coming into his space and working with his colleagues, and he starts to make her life incredibly difficult. She realizes that he keeps delaying the access to parts of the building that she really needs to get to. Her office is very inconveniently placed and is all the way on the opposite side of the building from where her lab and staff are going to be. She can't get any of her equipment in, and really she just can't even get started on her project because everything is being delayed. The story continues, and B starts to think to herself that maybe she's been misinterpreting Levi and what he's saying and some of the situations that have happened to her. But if she's misinterpreting these situations, who has been delaying all of the things that she needs? Well, I am not going to answer that for you because I really want to encourage you to read this book. So if you haven't already, definitely give this one a try. The plot twist in this book was absolutely insane and I was not expecting it. And it is very different from the plot in her other book that I mentioned. So even though they are by the same author and have similar themes and settings, they do have two very different plots. Something that I did want to mention to you is that if you enjoy Ali Hazelwood books as much as I do, be on the lookout because she does have a new book coming out in June of this year. So I know we're a few months away, but it is one on my anticipated reads list for the year, and it is called Love Theoretically, and I just cannot wait to read that one. The next book that I'm going to recommend to you is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. If you enjoy books, and especially romance books, I'm sure you have heard of her. When I first started doing my YouTube reviews, this book was very, very popular, and for good reason. This book follows Nora, who is a book lover and professional editor. And Nora is not the sweet, laid-back type. She's actually the complete opposite and can be pretty brusque. But we also have her sister Libby, who is completely opposite from Nora and is sunshine and rainbows and spreads happiness wherever she goes. Libby convinces Nora to go on a trip to a very small town in North Carolina and have a month together in a small cabin in this teeny tiny little town. New York City Nora is trying to make the best of her time with her sister, and she's just having a really hard time adjusting to this small town. So to feel a little more at home, Nora decides that she wants to go to the local coffee shop and get herself a little treat. So she does that, and what should be a really nice treat for herself becomes a little bit of a weird situation when she sees Charlie Lastra, who is a fellow editor who is known for not being nice to anyone ever. He's pretty hard to deal with, and of course she sees him in this super small town at the one and only coffee shop in the town. Despite their best efforts to ignore each other and not have to deal with each other, Charlie and Nora keep running into each other. It's an incredibly small town, and that is going to happen. But through their experiences and small chats with each other, they realize that they are both going through some major career hurdles. I'm going to stop there because if you haven't caught on already, this is going to be an enemies to lovers romance trope that I think you should check out. The last book in my list of recommendations is one that I feel like has gone undershared, and I think that more people should know about it, and that is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Now, this actually was very early on as a review in my YouTube channel and one of my first book of the month picks, maybe even my first one. So I have always just really enjoyed having this one on my shelf and feel like it is such a good story that you will enjoy. Catherine Center has a ton of other really popular books, but this one is the only one that I've read by her so far. This book follows Hannah Brooks, who looks like a kindergarten teacher, but is actually a bodyguard. Well, in the book, she's actually referred to as an executive protection agent, and she was just hired to protect a superstar, Jack Stapleton, from a stalker that he's been dealing with. Jack's mom is unfortunately very sick, and he needs to travel back home to Texas to spend some time with her while she is getting treatments and just on the mend from the sickness that she is dealing with. And normally that would be a very easy thing for him to do. But now he has a stalker and he also has a bodyguard. But he doesn't want to give his mom any other reasons to panic or to worry, so he asks Hannah to pretend to be his girlfriend so that she can go to the family house with him and he can have protection from his stalker, but without having to tell his mom that he's been dealing with this. Everything is going according to plan until Hannah starts to file for Jack. and she knows that it's a line she can't cross. She is hired to protect him. It is her job to protect him, and she's not going to cross that line. So she does everything that she can do to avoid falling further into those feelings. This is a forced proximity, fake dating romance that I think that you will really enjoy. And again, this one comes with a major plot twist that I was not expecting. Now, these are book recommendations that I have read, but I did want to share with you some of my reading plans for the month because I feel like they will be things that you can enjoy too if you are still looking for some other romance book recommendations for this month. The first book that I am planning to read in February is going to actually be my January book of the month pick because I kind of never got around to it, but we're prioritizing it. It's going to be my first read for February, and it fits the theme of books that I want to read perfectly, and that is Lunar Love. This book is an enemies to lover debut novel and follows our main character Olivia, who is so excited but also very nervous to be taking over her grandmother's matchmaking business. The issue here is that soon after getting to take over her grandmother's business, she finds out about a new dating app that threatens everything that her grandmother has built. So her grandmother's approach to this matchmaking business was very ancient in nature, and that they have a very long process and go through a lot of matchmaking and birthdays and use their heritage to really find good matches for their clients. But they're threatened by this company that automatically does this process for them and matches people that they don't think would be a good match. Now, of course, the owner and CEO of this company that threatens Liv's grandmother's business and her traditional ideas is a handsome man, Liv's age, who she is now going in a head-to-head battle with. And they make each other a bet that they will find the perfect match using their own method, and whoever falls in love first loses. This sounds so good. I cannot even wait to read it. The other book that I am planning to read in the month of February is one that has not released yet, but will be soon, and that is going to be Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. From what I've read, this is about Haley Welch, who fell hard for Julian Voss when they were teenagers. Haley was recently hired to revamp Voss Garden, where Julian has just returned to. This is a grumpy sunshine new release that's going to be coming out on February 7th, and I cannot wait to pick this book up and read and review it for you. If you have any romance book recommendations that you think I would enjoy, please let me know down in the comments. I am always looking for a good romance book recommendation because, to be honest, I don't need just the month of February to read romance books. I just absolutely love them. They make me super happy. So let me know which ones you have been enjoying because I will definitely add them to my list. And if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a like and also subscribe. I have a ton of romance book reviews coming for you in the month of February, and of course, a bunch of others scheduled for you as well, and I don't want you to miss them. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!